in our area, when it gets competitive, it's a raging intensity of competition
And it,
that's
and it
very,
flips
very
like that.
hard to win.
Yeah.
So if you have a time now where you can get a good deal that works for you and your budget, I would personally consider buying now and even do if rates go down later, you always have the opportunity of doing a refi later. We've already locked in your price
Yeah.
today.
All righty, folks. We saw last week a 50 basis point cut from the Fed. I have personally seen 15 to 20 emails saying rates are Fed cut rates, time to refi. We've already heard about a refi boom, but hey, have we started to see the marginal demand pick up after the Fed rate cut? We're going to have a conversation with Beth Traverso, top 1% agent in the country. What's going on, Beth?
Hi there. Great to be back. Yeah. So I think the word is out. The Fed cut rates, did a 50-point cut. Has that resulted in a stampede? It has resulted in a stampede of lenders and banks sending out all of this onslaught of marketing. I must have received at least 100.
Yeah,
So,
just an
and
avalanche. Yep.
most of them I give credit for the message was right about, hey, the Fed cut the rate. That doesn't go lockstep with mortgage rates, and we already priced it in, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but there was this question about, well, is the psychology going to change with buyers out there? Because the market really runs off psychology and emotions more than almost anything else. And so there, that message did start getting out there to the world, to buyers and sellers. And the question is that going to result in bringing a bunch of people off the sidelines? They've been waiting all this time. We've been talking about this in the real estate industry for years. When is this going to happen? And the answer is, well, I mean, not quite yet.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a bit of a bump where our listings are getting good activity, and offers do seem to be getting better, but it's not nothing crazy,
No.
because rates have not actually gone down from where they
Actually,
were. In
they
fact,
went
they've
up.
gone
They've
up a
come
little
up.
bit, which what that just kind of is a disconnect there. So I'm not seeing it yet. So we are
No.
seeing good activity. All of our open houses listings have been doing really well, but here in the Seattle area where we expect that after everyone goes back to school and the weather's starting to shift to fall weather. August was very sleepy, maybe a little sleepier than normal. We always see that in our area. It's important to know the seasonality where you are. But they more or less have been following the pattern of kids are back in school. The great weather is still lingering, but not for long. And people are making plans for between now and the end of the year, what they want to do.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing.
Yeah. We're just so clearly in a buyer's market. We're so clearly the marginal demand is still being pulled back. Again, I've said this a lot. It seems to be proving true. Marginal, it's when you were a kid, Beth, I'm sure you did this. I did this. Like when we were kids and we were outside and you had the hose, right?
Yeah.
You could put your thumb on the hose
Oh,
and
yeah.
hold back the water for a little bit, but eventually the pressure builds so much that it just starts squirting out, right? Right now, we're that kid putting the finger on the hose for that first second. It's just holding it back. We have an election. We have negative doom news that the recession, this, that, the other. Consumers have proven over 30 years of studying them that they can pull back for about 6 months.
Hmm.
We are in that right now. I suspect they will be able to do this through the next spring selling season, which in some markets starts January 15th, some markets February, maybe some in March. They won't be able to hold much longer. If you realize that, and that the Fed, while they've started with a 50, could be 150, could be 200 points deep into rate cuts by the spring selling season. We could have mortgage rates with a 5 handle versus 6 handle. I suspect that it's going to be sleepy or slow, to use your words, until spring, but it might, it might get wild in the spring selling season when that pressure of marginal demand explodes. What do you think?
Yes, I agree with that. I was just talking about that with one of my team members right before this call that it does feel like between now and January, because we've talked about how in my area the selling season pops in January when the demand is there, but the sellers aren't ready to list yet, and there's this tension there. And you combine that with all this marginal demand that's been waiting. I love the finger on the hose analogy, and inventory is still not quite catching up, but getting there. There's going to be some tension, and I think it is going to pop.
Yeah.
And I think in a pretty dramatic way, potentially, maybe more than we've seen in years because of the rates and everything that's been going on with supply, and the market's been in this depression of inventory you were talking about, and the lowest number of transactions
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I know at least
Well,
since
yeah,
the
I
80s
think
or yeah,
95 or something
right. I
since
mean, and
like
within the last 30 years or so.
yeah, some crazy
So
number. Yeah.
yeah, so that is shocking. I mean, shocking, but I've been living it and I know that, transactions are down.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been seeing is I have been seeing a bump in sellers wanting to list in the fall.
Ah.
Very busy September and October, busiest I've seen in quite some time. But most of them are still
Ah.
not the move up. That move up buyer seller is still not in the mix. It's all people relocating out of state,
Yeah.
divorce, or someone passed away and it's an estate situation,
Yeah,
something like.
you still have the life events,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's why we did 2 million transactions in 1981 when interest rates were 20%, because
Yeah.
life happens and sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
have to sell.
Yeah.
The move up buyers like still no thanks. I think
Mm-mm.
the I think the biggest question for 2025 is, will we or won't we see rates below 5.5? That's
Yes.
the big question. Because I think any rate between 5.5 and 6% is like the worst rate possible for the housing market. What do I mean by that? I believe any interest rate between 5.5 and 6 pulls marginal demand, but it doesn't give you equal marginal supply.
Yeah.
And until we unlock the marginal supply, aka the move up buyer, housing market will be fundamentally broken for years.
Agreed. Agreed. So
Yeah.
it'll be tough for buyers for a while there. And I have to say, yes, I'm a real estate agent, and yes, I do get paid when people buy and sell, but I also am very open to calling it like I see it.
Yeah.
And I believe that between now and January is a bit of a sweet spot for potential buyers out there where you can get a house with maybe in my area to not compete, that's a win. In other
Yeah.
areas, it might be you can offer your disrespectful or low offer, whatever, ask for your terms, credit. You have a certain period of time where you can do
Yeah.
that, and it never lasts very long.
No,
And some
buyers
people try to
markets are
wait
not
it
long.
out. They're
Yeah.
not long. And when you have the benefit of years of observing the market, you see these things where it's a limited period of time, and if
Yeah.
you lock it in now, I mean, you got to make sure the numbers work, right? Don't do anything stupid, of course.
Yeah.
Never, would never
Never.
recommend that. But if you're planning on buying anyway, and you're ready now, but you're just thinking about it, it might be worth considering moving your plans to this third quarter of 2024 versus
Yeah.
first quarter 2025. I think you'll be paying a lot more and competing with it. And in our area, when it gets competitive, it's a raging intensity of competition
And
that it's
it
very,
flips
very
like that.
hard to win.
Yeah.
So if you have a time now where you can get a good deal that works for you and your budget, I would personally consider buying now, and even do if rates go down later, you always have the opportunity of doing a refi later. We've already locked in your price
Yeah.
today.
At the end of the day, finding great deals is just easier in a buyer's market. I didn't say easy. I said easier. And
Easier.
again,
Yeah.
easier. And again, it's never easy to find great deals. But if you're going to do it, I would rather do it in a buyer's market. Yes, it means lots of offers. Yes, it means follow up. Yes, it means getting told no a lot. Who cares? You only got to get one.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us would be happy with one a year, one every other year. You have to take advantage of these buyers markets. You have to take it. It's like fishing on a lake, right? Do you want
Follow
to be
up.
out there with a
Yeah.
thousand other people? Or do you want to try, when you're by yourself before anybody else shows up? So, yeah, no, nothing stupid, no negative cash flow. We don't bet on
Nope.
appreciation, all of those normal rules. But buyers markets are fun and they don't last long. This will end when the
Yeah.
spring selling season starts for your market. Is it January? Is it March?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. It could be over that quick, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And follow up, like you were saying, please, please follow up. It's shocking how many people never follow up, and really shocking. And then, or who don't ask the right questions in the first place. And
Yeah.
then the thing to keep in mind too is that we don't have the move up buyer seller, but what we do have are these people that need to sell for life events. Some of those people really need to sell, and they don't have the luxury of holding out to try to time the market or get a better amount that they got to sell. So I would say that you may just have to just look, keep your search diligent until you find the right person with the right circumstance, but they are out there, I guarantee it. And there's some of
Yeah.
them that are getting pretty antsy.
Yeah. Again, folks, it's your job to find the great deal. Buyers make the deals. You are the scarce commodity right now when the market is slowing down. Beth, if somebody wanted to reach out to buy or sell in King County, or better yet, get a referral to another top 1% agent in their market, how would they reach out?
Yeah, the easiest way is through bethtraversogroup.com on my website. Just send me a message there, but you can also message me on social media across all the platforms just under Beth Traverso. So,
Thank you so much, Beth. You're amazing.
thank you.